Hello YouTube. This video is to show you how I've set up my limb risers. Limb risers are these wires you see coming off on either side. They're mostly made to be able to protect your windshield from being hit by a limb, at least deflect it a little bit so you don't end up with a cracked windshield. Tend to be popular in places like I'm on the East Coast of the U.S., do a lot in the Appalachians, the Blue Ridge, where the foliage is in hinges. Kind of comes in on you quite badly sometimes, especially up in Pennsylvania and in Virginia and West Virginia. If you're in the desert, I doubt if you need anything like this. Probably Pacific Northwest you would. Certain places where just the brush and bush is coming in kind of heavily on the right and left. When I've been off-roading, I get questions about these. Somebody posted on YouTube and I put together my own version of it. It's not particularly expensive. This is all stuff I just got at the hardware store. So let me show you the logic of how I put this together. So I've seen guys who go out and they actually drill their bull bar. I don't tend to do that. I just use a U-bolt. I've done it a couple of different ways to try this. I put down black tape just to protect the paint job a little bit. But you can see this is nothing more than just your standard U-bolt. I've put it on there and tightened it down. Now this next piece, I don't know what you'd call it, swivel. This turns out to be fairly important. You're going to use a turnbuckle to be able to tighten these up so you get the kind of tension you want. The likelihood that you're going to be able to cut a piece of cable exactly correctly and not have to have some tightening mechanism, well, you got to be better at that certainly than I am. I need something like that. And so you're going to be twisting this turnbuckle, which means unless you're going to bind up your cable and all your hardware here, you're going to need something to take into account those twists. And these guys are important. They're not very expensive. Oil them every once in a while. This is basically, I had to use certain connectors. I'm coming up to a turnbuckle that has no opening. I've got the swivel that has no opening. So this little is just to allow me some way to be able to, when I loosen the turnbuckle, to be able to take these off. I do tend to take them off if I'm not going to go in the woods, like over the winter, if I'm not really going to have a trail ride for a month or two, just because they kind of rattle around sometimes if they're not perfectly tight. So again, here's another connector. It is just, those are a little safer, I guess. Again, just because I'm coming into two pieces that do not have any opening. So this is going to be your main kind of piece of work. This is just trying to remember what I bought here, 1/4 inch maybe, and you've got the plastic covering because you don't want it scraping up. You want to use these little, whatever they're called, U-connectors. You want to remember to put not the part that is taking the full strain, but the extra goes out where the loop is. I just bought regular ones because they were cheaper. Probably at this point, given I've kind of settled on a design, I could switch over to stainless steel because they're, it's more expensive, but it'll hold up better. But again, I use Loctite on them and just keep them kind of, check them to make sure, because these are little nuts. You don't want to really take a chance that they're going to go. So then what we're doing is it's coming up here, and you can see that really what it's not necessarily protecting your antenna, or even on the other side, you can see it's not really protecting the snorkel. It is here just to make sure you don't end up with those little, the branches at least are slowed up before they get anywhere near your windshield. And so then we come up here, and this is just, hardware store. This is 4 feet on a Nissan Xterra 2001. This works fine to give you the spread of the windshield and be quite clear about that. You're coming in with the end, the same kind of setup as we have on the other end of the cable. I put it into this. This is so that it can basically be taken apart whenever I need to. And then I found that with these, we're using this angle iron like this, with the holes, the pre-cut holes, that if you only did it on one side, it tended to bend the wire down as you tightened up. So this is just a counter setup with, again, a turnbuckle. Again, you need some way to be able to hook it without that you can disconnect when you want. You need a swivel. You need, again, an ability to be able to connect 2 closed loops like this. This is just another turnbuckle, same size. When you get tight, it's a 9/16 wrench to kind of do the last few turns. That seems to be strong enough for the purpose here. Then I'm coming down again. This is connecting to be able to, and you're sizing this out. This one is really just to give me that extra couple of inches. Again, a U-bolt around a ring to make it easier to clip onto. So that really is the whole thing. On the Xteras anyway, they already have these brackets for the kind of second level of roof rack, which maybe some guys found a use for it. I basically took it off. Tended to not have a lot that would fit up there, and if you did it wrong, once I put a light bar on, it whistled like hell. So I just got rid of it and hooked up that, like I say, that's just 4 feet of that stock. I didn't have to cut it. This other thing, just if you out of your curiosity, this is a little rack I made to do my max tracks, so I can fit 4 max tracks up there. If there's any interest, I could do a video on how I put that together. But real quickly, all it is I'm using that angle iron. I'm cutting it to length to be able to do both the width I needed for the max track bracket, bolts on there, and then also the right one, so it could be attached to the roof rack without having to drill any new holes into the Nissan aluminum roof rack, just trying to keep the strength solid as much as possible. So anyway, you can see this is how it's done. Here's where you tighten up there. Like I say, maybe this cost me $40, $50 maybe, thinking about I tried different things. I clearly went back later to buy this second section. But it basically all works pretty well. It does keep the branches out. It's not perfect. Don't ram into, a branch at 40 miles an hour and be surprised if they fail on you. So anyway, that's the video. I hope this was helpful. Just put any questions in the comments below and I'll do my best to get back to you. Thanks.